Spontaneous recovery in classical conditioning. What is spontaneous recovery? Spontaneous recovery is a phenomenon of classical conditioning where a conditioned response reappears following its extinction. Classical conditioning was discovered in the late 19th century by the Russian physiologist Ivan Pavlov. Pavlov discovered classical conditioning through his experiments on the digestion of dogs. During his experiments, he noticed that the dogs would not only salivate when presented with food, but also upon entering the laboratory where their experiments were conducted. Following numerous trials, Pavlov proclaimed that there were two types of reflexes that had an effect on these psychic secretions: unconditional and conditional reflexes. So how does classical conditioning work? There are 4 types of stimuli associated with classical conditioning. The unconditioned stimulus, which evokes a natural or innate response. The conditioned stimulus, which is a neutral stimulus. The unconditioned response, which is innate or biological. The conditioned response, which is a reflexive response to a conditioned stimulus. For a conditioned response to occur, the conditioned stimulus must be paired with an unconditioned stimulus repeatedly. Eventually, the unconditioned stimulus can be removed and the conditioned stimulus alone evokes a conditioned response. To put things into perspective, here's an example. This is Franklin. By pairing the CS, which is the tone, with the US, which is the SOS alarm, Franklin eventually produces a CR of fear to CS alone. Extinction occurs when the conditioned response is repeatedly presented without the unconditioned stimulus, weakening the CR until it eventually disappears. However, after a period of time following extinction, presenting the conditioned stimulus again may produce a conditioned response. And that concludes this video presentation on spontaneous recovery in classical conditioning. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.